The Youth Employment Initiative Funding Opportunity Application webinar has 3 sections. In the introduction, we will present information on the background of the Youth Employment Initiative. In the second section, we will go over eligibility and application requirements. We will then pause at a first Q&A checkpoint to give people information about how to send in their questions about the application. For the third section, application, we will present a live walkthrough of the application itself. Slide 7, please. All right, we're going to begin with agenda item 1, the Youth Employment Initiative background and information. Next slide. So the Youth Employment Initiative focuses on preparing youth with disabilities, both in custody and under community supervision, to gain employment and overcome barriers to career success through specialized educational and vocational services. Amity Foundation, who is presenting this application webinar and is hosting the RFP process, we are looking for subcontractors basically under our contract with the OYCR, the California Office of Youth and Community Restoration. And we're basically looking for community-based organization partners in 3 counties for this round, this phase 2. Successful applicants will be community-based organizations that provide youth with disabilities who are involved in the justice system with the tools, resources, and support necessary for successful reintegration in the community through meaningful employment opportunities. Next slide, please. The subcontractors, successful applicants will provide 6 core services. The 6 core services are outlined in a statement of work for youth in custody, those under community supervision who meet DOR eligibility criteria. The SOW, the statement of work, is available at the Amity website. That's www.amityfdn.org/OYCR. We highly recommend all applicants download the statement of work. The 6 core services, as listed on the slide, are job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences, post-secondary counseling, workplace readiness training, self-advocacy training, and job placement and retention services. Next slide, please. Selected subcontractors, so successful applicants, will need to meet service delivery requirements. The agency selected must provide comprehensive individualized services tailored to participant needs. The services must support both vocational skill building and personal development. Agencies will be required to work closely with Amity, DOR, the Workforce Development Navigator. That's a position hired on the county level. So whatever community-based organization we select as a subcontractor will be expected to work closely with this county employee, the county probation and/or education departments, the workforce development system in the county, and other community partners. And be aware, all your staff who work in probation facilities must pass background checks. We also have an employer record of responsibility. The selected organization will be required to act as the employer of record for work-based learning experiences for any participants, and will need to manage payroll, taxes, and compliance with labor laws for paid internships and other work-based experiences. Next slide, please. All right, the information on the funding opportunity. Next slide. Key dates and the timeline for this funding opportunity. The funding opportunity was released on February 14th. We are holding the application walkthrough webinar today on February 24th. If you have any questions about the process, if you're having trouble accessing an application, if you have technical assistance questions about applying, and if you have programmatic questions about what this is, eligibility, etc., your deadline for sending those questions in to us is March 3rd, 2025. We take questions at the email address tpagrants amityfdn.org. That email address will be written out on future slides, and you'll be able to see it there. All answers that we provide for questions sent in, we will post publicly. They are posted on a questions and answers page, again, at www.amityfdn.org. Next slide, please. The awarded agency will receive sufficient funding to cover reasonable operational costs associated with serving the projected caseload, subject to a thorough budget review and approval process by Amity Foundation. Budgets should be comprehensive and account for all essential expenses related to delivering the 6 core services, while ensuring compliance with program guidelines. Funding allocations for years 2 and years 3 will be reviewed and adjusted as necessary based on updated caseload projections and performance evaluations to ensure continued alignment with program goals and resource availability. So again, the budget that you develop for your application should be for year 1 only. We will be in constant communication about goals and needs for years 2 and 3. And your budget will probably change. So you are only to develop a year 1 ramp up budget for this application. Next slide, eligibility. This opportunity is open to organizations capable of providing high quality services to youth with disabilities who are involved in the justice system. We're accepting applications from nonprofits, public sector organizations such as community colleges or other public agencies, and business entities such as professional corporations and LLCs. All applications must come through the online portal. You can only access the application at www.amityfdn.org/OYCR. We're requiring that applicants are registered already with the California Secretary of State with a status of good standing. We've got a link for you to see if you qualify. Organizations must be registered to do business in the county where services will be provided at the time of award. So you may apply in a county where you are not registered yet as a business provider, but you will be required to have that business license in place by the time you sign the contract and begin the contract period. Organizations may apply to provide services in multiple counties. A separate application must be submitted for each county where services are provided. Next slide, please. So again, we're looking for qualified applicants with experience in workforce development and vocational services for young people with disabilities who are justice system impacted and or involved. We expect applicants to understand the diverse needs of youth with disabilities. We do want to see a robust, very strong set of collaborations and key partnerships. We have a whole attachment dedicated to collaborations and key partners. We do want you to demonstrate your knowledge of local resources that use a community-based organization in the county in which you'd be providing these services, resources available to your services population, and establish community partnerships. Next slide, please. So again, this is brand new. This is a brand new initiative, and we understand that there are going to be changes along the way. Whatever all of us, Amity, the state, DOR, the county who we're working in, everything we expect now, we understand will probably change as we go along in this process. So we are asking for this application for applicants to develop a year 1 budget. This is a 3-year project. When you contract, you will be contracting for 3 years, but we're going to do the budget a year at a time. We also expect there'll be a ramp up in year 1, so your year 1 budget will be different from years 2 and 3. You're going to base your budget amount on the number of youth we expect that you to serve in the first year. In Contra Costa, it's 50 youth with disabilities who are justice involved. In San Benito, it is 15 youth with disabilities who are justice involved. And Solano, 25 youth with disabilities who are justice involved. We know, I'm sure people are looking at this age range and are thinking, oh, wow, 14 to 25. People age 14 are rarely legally able to get employment. So we are capable to fund some services for youth in that age range. And the OYCR, when they contracted with Amity, did want to include youth in that age range. If you only serve youth 16 or over, that does not disqualify you from applying. If you only serve young people 18 to 26, that does not disqualify you from applying. You should go ahead and apply, understanding that organizations who can provide some level of services to people ages 14 and through 25 are going to be more competitive. But you are not disqualified, and we encourage everyone to apply. The contracted organization should prepare a detailed itemized budget based on this caseload estimate, including all projected expenses such as personnel, training materials, and administrative costs. However, your budget should not include costs for supportive services such as transportation or childcare or participant wages for work-based learning experiences. These expenses will be funded separately based on utilization. So the good news is you don't have to spend this budget you create for us. You do not have to list expenses for participant wages for work-based learning experiences, transportation, childcare, supportive services. The budget will be subject to a thorough review and approval by Amity Foundation and will operate on a cost reimbursement basis with monthly invoicing. So this is a cost reimbursement grant. You will submit an invoice monthly. You will be reimbursed. There's one more point I wanted to make. Oh, so during the contracting process, there may be a back and forth with our accounting department as you develop your budget. So budget is not final until contract is signed. Ramp up period, a 90-day ramp up period will be provided to allow agencies to hire and train staff with expertise in youth services, participate in Amity-led trainings on program requirements and performance metrics, establish partnerships with DOR, probation, and other local stakeholders, implement data tracking systems for effective service documentation and compliance. Since the YEI is a demonstration project, flexibility will be allowed during year one as agencies build capacity. Amity recognizes that early stage development may require greater upfront infrastructure investment compared to direct service hours. Caseload numbers may fluctuate based on referral patterns and participant needs. So I hope what the picture being developed is that agencies should develop a flexible budget that can accommodate both capacity building and service delivery for this funding opportunity. Next slide, please. These are the sections in the application that applicants will be required to complete. Again, it's an online application. You can access the application at www.amityfdn.org/OYCR. We've got a section of basic organizational information in which you fill in things like contact information and address. Then there's a tab devoted to narrative questions. I believe there's 6 narrative questions in all. You can write lengthy answers in these narrative sections, but I want to encourage you now to keep it short and sweet, to really get to the point. Conserve more words for foundations that need them. We really need strong, broad points regarding your experience and ability to serve. We have a bonus point section. We're giving organizations that are CARF, that's the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, CARF accredited and or in the process of becoming CARF accredited. We also do provide points if you are Baldridge or COA, that's the Council on Accreditation. If you have accreditations there, we provide some points. Please, if you are not familiar with these programs, if you are not involved in these programs, you're not disqualified, you're not ineligible, and you still have a good shot. So bonus points are available, but it will not knock you out. If you are not accredited, that does not mean you will not be awarded. We also have 4 required attachments, and I recommend opening and completing the attachments first. One of them is the budget, of course. The budget is the spine of your whole application. We also have a chart where we want you to describe your partnerships, and that's pretty meaty. That's going to take a little time to fill out. So a chart of partnerships, we're going to ask for 3 references as well. Hint, call your references and warn them, because we are going to call them. We've already been through phase 1 of this, and we definitely had some agencies that were caught by surprise who did not know they had been listed as a reference and weren't prepared to answer a couple of questions. So make sure you give your references ample opportunity to prepare for our call. Next slide, please. Applications will be evaluated based on the following criteria: experience and qualifications, demonstrated expertise in delivering similar services, and a strong understanding of the unique needs of youth with disabilities involved in the justice system. You will also be scored on your proposed approach, the quality, feasibility, and alignment of your proposed approach with the goals of the Youth Employment Initiative. Proposals should clearly outline how services will be delivered with consideration for the specific challenges faced by justice-involved youth. You will also be scored on the strength of your partnerships, existing partnerships with relevant agencies such as the Department of Rehabilitation, Workforce Development Boards, probation and/or education departments, and community organizations. Strong established partnerships indicate capacity to deliver comprehensive services and coordinate effectively with key stakeholders. Your references, a positive evaluation and recommendation from past or current project partners or contractors. So organizations that have hired you to do work, that is what we're looking for. Leveraging resources and partnerships, organizations are expected to demonstrate their ability to leverage additional resources. These can be resources that you yourself provide, that we will not be paying for out of this contract, but that are resources that you can provide, or other organizations who you can refer clients to, such as family reunification programs, mental health counseling, legal assistance, housing support, substance abuse treatment. These services are critical for addressing the holistic needs of youth, many of whom face multiple barriers to successful reintegration into their communities. Amity reserves the right to clarify information in a submitted application, including verification through outside sources, such as websites or other sources, reaching out to an organization, reaching out to references, site visits, or other measures. If through the verification process, inaccurate or false information is showed to have been included in the application, Amity reserves the right to disqualify the application and deny funding. Organizations with existing contracts or partnerships with the DOR, with workforce development boards, or other relevant entities are strongly encouraged to apply. Next slide, please. So again, we are accepting questions about this opportunity through March 3rd. You can email your questions to tpagrants@amityfdn.org. You can see the email address right in the middle of the slide here. Again, we're accepting your questions about, if you've got programmatic questions, you can send those. If you're having trouble accessing the application, or you have questions about a question, these are the things that we're looking for through March 3rd. We will publicize all questions and answers, and we will email all applicants that the Q&A is available to look at. Next slide, please. All right, well, we're going to, I guess, Juan, I will, if you will go on and release your share. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Oh, it looks like I'm frozen. Let's just give it a minute to unfreeze. Nope, still working on it. Still thinking. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes. Ah, there we go. Now we're back. All right. Bonnie, you still with me?
Still here.
Yay, excellent. All right. All right, so we are going to go through the application process. When you this is a first time, this is the first time you go through an application process. On subsequent visits to your application, after you've created an application, you should not do this. You should not do this. Every time you do this, you create a new application. org/OYCR. So you're going to come to www.amityfdn.org/OYCR. You'll get this pop-up. You can either sign up for the Amity. The Amity newsletter is about Amity Foundation, not necessarily about this work. Yeah, we encourage you to sign up. We like to share our news, but it is not required. So you can just dismiss that window. The information that I went over previously is here in writing. Applications are on the right-hand side of the page. As you scroll down, you will see the page start to populate. The applications we're accepting right now are for Contra Costa County, San Benito County, and Solano County. So let's go on. Let's open up an application in San Benito County. And to do this, you can see that there are these clickable arrows. When you click it, you'll have a link to the application. That's how you open a new application. You can also download a PDF of the entire application and a Word document of the entire application. And I highly recommend, the software does have a timeout feature. So I highly recommend that you at least open the Word doc and that you write out your application in the Word document. And when you are ready to submit, that's when you open an application and cut and paste your answers. That is my recommended strategy for not losing information. New applicants, I don't know why it's the smallest thing on the page, but in order to, if you've never seen this portal before, if you've never worked, the software we use is Blackbaud Grant Making. If you've never submitted an application through Blackbaud Grant Making before, you're not going to have any information saved here. So you want to come down to the new applicant down at the very bottom left-hand side of the page, tiny little letters under the email field, new applicant. And here is where you will enter in an email and a password. We highly recommend that you email your password to yourself. It has to be a complex password. So it's going to be letters and numbers, uppercase, lowercase, and symbols. And it has to be at least 12 characters long. So in order to avoid lockout, forgetting your password, highly recommend that you email it to yourself and that you cut and paste it going forward. If you're someone who doesn't like your computer to save your password information. I love it when my computer saves my password information. So I have signed off on that. And as you can see, my email and password are already known by my computer. So I am going to go on and log in. And that is going to generate a brand new San Benito application for me. How do I know I'm in San Benito? I don't see any indications here. I just want to make sure that everyone is in the right place. I believe that the word San Benito will show up in section 1. Oh, I don't see it here either. All right. Well, I have a failing of the software. I've already run into some trouble. So a couple of charming idiosyncrasies of the software is that all of the fields are required. where they are required for submission, but they are also required in order to navigate away from the page. So you can navigate using these bars along the top. I skipped to section 1, and now section 1 does not want to let me go until I fill in my application. So I'm gonna just start again, so I don't have to deal with that. I'm gonna hit exit here. Come back. Let's see if I sign back into my grant request, if it will let me navigate from the page. It didn't save it. All right, I'll start over. Okay, San Benito. All right, so because I have already created a username and password, when I clicked the link at the Amity Foundation page, it booted me straight into a brand new application. And again, if you go to the Amity page, every time you want to work on your application, what's going to happen is you're going to create a new application every time. And you don't want to do that, you just want to create one. The first tab gives you some helpful tips for using the software, including what I just shared, to use the Word document version of this application. Fill that out completely before you come, and then use copy and paste, because there is a timeout function. If you save frequently, the timeout function usually restarts. So if you've been in for half an hour and you save, it should restart, but that's not a guarantee. So again, highly recommend you just work in the application when you're ready to submit. Here is a link. So if you want to, so after you have created an application, if you want to get into that same application, this is the link you should use: https://www.grantrequest.com. That's how you get back into your saved application. Again, if you go to the OYCR page, you'll create a new application. You want to get back into your saved application, this is the link you want to use. Every time you close out of your application, you'll get an email including all of your progress so far in the application itself. So you will be automatically emailed your application to date, like anything you filled in, you will get a copy of that every time you save and close your application. That does have a tendency to go to spam, so you want to make sure that mail@grantapplication.com is allowed into your inbox. To move I know a lot of people do like back and forward buttons in their browser, meaning, I would come up to this area here to go back. If I do that, I can lose information in this application. Make sure you navigate within the software itself. So you want to make sure to press these buttons, save and finish later or next, or you want to press these tabs. You can also navigate around by pressing these tabs. Resources and information, that's everything that we went over previously in this webinar. The eligibility and statement of work. So again, this will take you to, I talked about the statement of work being very important to this effort. The statement of work is available here. There's several things I think you should outline, you should download as you get started on applying, and they are here on the left hand. So on the right are the links to the applications. On the left here, you've got the statement of work. If you click the download button, it will take you to here's the statement of work. So the statement of work is, I'm going to say 17 pages. Is that right? It's meaty. It's meaty. There's a lot to it. Yeah, I think we're still in the statement of work. However, you are going to need to reference the statement of work specifically when you begin outlining what it is you have done in the past and what it is you intend to do. So this is really important. Yeah, once we get to page. Oh, no, this is just the full statement of work. Okay, it's a 27-page statement of work. And you are going to need it to be able to build your program. So download that. It has its own button, download here. I do recommend that you, this is to sign up for this recording, but it's also to get on the mailing list for this opportunity. Join our mailing list. So go on and sign up at the mailing list. A recording of this webinar will be posted here at this button, as well as the webinar we did for the last phase. And here are the rest of the attachments. So once again, you should come here, you should download. You will need attachment A for your application. You will need attachment B to turn in with your application, C and E, the budget form. And again, here is the statement of work again. So everything is in one place. All the downloads you need are in one place. So before you get started on filling out your application, be sure to come here to application required attachment templates and download all 5. Download all 5 of these. Attachment A, B, C, E, and the SOW. Should you forget, however, there's a reminder here on eligibility and statement of work that you need to come download the statement of work by going to OYCR. I believe you can also click here and you will download a PDF of the statement of work. And just an overview of the core services we are asking for from applicants. So to get into the application itself, Section 1 is pretty basic, right? It is the name of your organization. I have filled out several of these, so this is my pretend organization. And if you've worked in this software before, you will probably see some auto filling. So if you applied in phase 1, or if you have ever applied using the software before, it does save information. So it has saved all the information I have entered in previously. This little red star next to a question means the field must be filled in before you can submit. Additionally, the field must be filled in before you can move to the next tab. So I'm going to go on and fill in some required fields. State, I should be allowed to, I'm not applying in any other. And I have no financial audits. So 2 questions here at the end. We are interested in knowing how many organizations are either developing multiple applications or serving multiple counties. So if you are awarded in phase 1 and or if you are applying in any of the other phase 2 counties, which are Contra Costa, San Benito, and Solano, we'd like you to check it off here. If none of the above, you can hit none. Imperial, Kern, Riverside, and San Mateo are the phase 1 counties. So if you applied in those, you can go on and check them off. What else do I want to say about this? The county that you're applying for won't appear. So here's my first proof that I'm in the right application. I'm in the San Benito County application. It doesn't appear in my list. It's name checked here. This last question on the first tab, do you have outstanding audit financial claims? We expect most of the responses will be no. If it is yes, please describe the nature of your financial claim, the amount and the date, and especially important is where you are in the resolution process. If it was resolved without incident, if you are in the midst of the resolution process. So I'm hoping I filled out enough to be able to go forward. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to save and finish later. All right. Oh, so I saved and finished later in order to get us to the next tab. And as you see, I'm going to receive an email confirmation with everything that I've done in that application is going to appear in that email. So that's going to be in my inbox. Very helpful. Grant request. San Benito, yay. Oh, I think that's easy to fix. if it doesn't like the X's and other phone number, just take them out. It will accept a blank. Okay. All right. So section 2 is your narrative. Again, we're asking that you please be concise. You do have you have a lot of room here, I hope, to describe who you are and what you do and what you've done. But we encourage you to consider your reviewer, who may have a lot of applications to review. And if you really want to stand out, be concise. Be concise. The questions are just a basic organizational overview, focused on any previous projects undertaken with the county you're applying to serve, experience in providing the 6 core services, your project plan for this proposal, for this application, your staffing plan, and your budget. And again, everything we talked about previously, that information is available again here. It is available in the statement of work, how to develop your budget, all pretty clear. In San Benito, in each county's application, again, it will be called out how many people you're expected to serve in year 1. And in San Benito, your year load caseload is 15 youth. The budget total that you develop on your budget form, your total shows up in cell B3. So if you just copy the contents of cell B3 right here, and this is very important. So you're going to fill out, you're going to you're going to fill out your budget form, and you are able to download it right here. Oh, it just takes you to our download form. That's great. So these blue links take you to the page where you download all the forms, right? So you're going to download your attachment E, subcontractor budget form. There it is. You're going to open it and fill it out. It's pretty simple form. You do have to do all of your own math in this form. There are no formulas. So if you've got a percentage of FTE, you're going to have to put the percentage of FTE here and do your own formula to get your total. We are asking you not to separate out any fringe costs from your salary costs. So separate out the fringe into a separate column. But here again, here's the grand total that will automatically populate here in B3, and that's what you want to put in question 15. See, I'm gonna save this as, let's do this as San Ben Budge. And we will put it, I'm gonna put it on my desktop. All right, so this is important for all of your attachments. This is going to be the drill. When you get to a place where you need to add an attachment in your application, you click Choose File. I put that on my desktop in San Ben Budgie. And so here I see I've chosen it. It's selected. This is not yet attached to my application. This has not been uploaded. In order to attach it, I need to upload. So we have a 2-step process. You choose your file and then you upload. If it doesn't look like this, you have not attached your budget, and you will not be able to submit your application until you're attached. So we'll be able to look at that on another tab. But it's a 2-step process. You upload the attachment, you choose the attachment and then you upload. You choose the attachment and then you upload. You choose the attachment and then you upload. Here are the bonus points that we went over earlier in the application. It's just a yes or no. If you're not CARF accredited or you're some other organization accredited, the question here is, are you CARF accredited? So if it's anything other than CARF, the answer is still no. But if you're in the process or you have another accreditation, please tell us more in the box. That is worth some points. I'm going to say no. That's the fact for most of us. And finally, here is the attachments page. So Again, I'm just gonna drill this a couple times. You are going to choose a file, you choose, and then you upload. You choose and then you upload. If you don't do both of them, it needs to look like this when you are done. All right, there is a final review, like again, with all these required fields, required attachments, you cannot submit your application without completing it. I have one other brief. If you do not have a business license, please email me. Email me at tpagrants@amityfdn.org, and I will give you something that you can attach here. We're expecting organizations to attach their current business license, but if you don't have one currently for the county you're applying in, email me and I will give you something to attach here. All right. Okay, Juan, I'm going to stop my share. We could throw the slideshow back up. I want to thank everyone for their time. A reminder, if you have questions, please send them to tpagrant@amityfdn.org and we will answer them. But we will answer, March 3rd is the last day to send in questions. I think we will complete the question and answer on that date as well and email everyone all our final questions and answers. We do intend to update our Q&A page regularly though, so you will receive an email about that should we receive any questions. Thank you for your time.